Let's get into under 800,000. And I find this insane to actually mention that this is still under 800,000 because it's in Melbourne and it's only about 10 or so Ks, 10 or 11 Ks from the CBD. And that suburb is Braybrook. Now, look, for those that don't know Braybrook, it was previously known as the Bronx of Sydney. So, not of Sydney, sorry, of Melbourne. So, pretty much before the early 2000s, Braybrook had about 60% or so of public housing, but most of that has been sold off. That number today is about somewhere between 17 and 19, and about 8 to 10% of that alone is actually aged public housing. So it doesn't actually look bad or feel bad if you're in and around it. It's just very quiet and it's just your old brick veneer sort of home. So it's actually quite nice there, funny enough, and peaceful. It's not like your real dodgy housing estate, and they're actually selling off even more of those original real dodgy estates, and they're keeping the part they're selling off is actually a dodgy part, and the part they're keeping is the aged housing. So it's actually changing the suburb a lot. But in Braybrook alone, there's a lot of townhouses going up. Quite nice. You don't really have any issues with them as well. You got a lot of the young professionals moving in. And really, the reason that's happening is because it's a part of the regeneration project for the Victorian government. So this is just off the government's actual website. So you'll see where it's going. Pretty much this suburb is going to completely gentrify in the next probably 10 or 15 years. It has rejuvenated completely. It's actually done more than literally 9.8% long-term despite that as well, but it's going to continue going and it will actually start to gentrify now because the nature of the suburb is completely changing. Just have a drive through it if you don't believe me. Really good suburb. I personally hit this area up quite hard for investors who want to buy in Melbourne for sort of that 800K-ish or so budget. You still do get homes as well on blocks here, which is quite difficult for Melbourne. But anyway, Braybrook's definitely a suburb to consider under 800,000.